end of the day, it is about reducing the dynamic range that a particular instrument or vocal has. Hello, welcome to another Music Monday. We are going to have a look at audio compression, what it means, how should you be thinking about it. If you're new here, welcome. If you're an old friend, also welcome. Have you remembered to like and subscribe? That really helps out the channel and helps other people find stuff like this. So, what are we going to look at today? First, we're going to think about what compression actually is, have a look at the different types of compressor that are available, and then I'm going to show you a demo in Logic to give you an idea of what it actually sounds like and what you should be listening for, and do you actually need to use it. So what is compression? At the end of the day, it is about reducing the dynamic range that a particular instrument or vocal has, or it could be applied to your entire mix, your master output. So in the blue there, you've got an uncompressed signal, and in the pink, a compressed signal. You can see there is less difference between the highs and the lows. So that is what is happening when we apply compression. We are reducing the dynamic range, and for some instruments and vocals, for example, this can give a smoother feeling. For drums, it can give a punchier feel where the sound is a bit more consistent and always at that punchy level. There are different types of compressor, and you might be at a loss to think, well, there's a massive choice, which ones do I use? So optical, this is modelled on the idea that all compressors are, that a signal will go into a compressor and it is then split. One of those signals just carries on through, and the other one is affected by the compressor circuit. An optical compressor simulates the idea of converting an electrical audio signal into light, and then that light affecting a light dependent resistor, which then fades. This gives a non-linear effect to it. So it changes the physics by converting from audio to light and then back again. You've also got FET compressors, field effect transistors is what it stands for. It's a different effect. And then you've got VCA, voltage controlled amplifier compressors. They all work slightly differently and will give you a different effect. And depending on what instrument you are affecting, you may prefer the sound of one over the other. Let's hear what it sounds like in real life. Welcome to Logic. The obvious example to give you to hear the difference in compression is using a drummer track. So here is the original Logic drummer. Here is a bounced version of that track. And here is the compressed version of that track. The point you are supposed to be listening for is that this compressed version sounds a lot punchier compared to... Now, that doesn't tell the whole story about compression. It is not about making things louder. It is about making things less different and then raising the volume overall. So what I'm going to do is get rid of those tracks, go back to the original sound, which is this, and I'm going to show you what the compressor does. So this is the compressor in Logic. It will be similar in any DAW. You can see from the conversation we had earlier about FETs, VCAs and optical that there are variations available here. Platinum Digital is a very popular choice for people using Logic because it is a compromise between opticals, VCAs and FETs. What we can do is pick which one we would like to use, and then you have to think about the different controls. So we've got threshold, ratio, makeup, knee, attack and release. Some do not have knee. For example, the Studio FET does not have a knee. Threshold is the really easy one to understand. It literally means the level at which the compressor starts working. If we are detecting sounds as low as -50 dB, it will pretty much work all the time. So watch the needle on the meter, and as I put this down to -50, it will pick up every sound. So as I move the threshold down, you will see it affect all of the sound, and watch the meter. So that is being activated all the time. As we move up to 0, it doesn't get affected as much. So this is the level at which the compressor starts working. Then you have the ratio. 4:1 is a very common ratio that producers have used for years. You can play with this to have your own effect. Use it in conjunction with the threshold to see what you like. The makeup is how much you add to the signal once it's being compressed, because if I put this back to 0 and then turn the compressor off completely, you'll notice the sound actually gets quieter because we are compressing the dynamic range and therefore we are losing volume, which is why you have a makeup button or knob so that you can regain the volume that was lost. Attack and release are very similar to synth envelopes. How quickly does the compressor grab the sound? And release, how quickly does it let the effect dissipate? If you're using something like drums, you want a very quick attack time. So you are looking at 5 milliseconds. You want to be able to use the compressor when that attack happens. If you have a late attack on a drum hit, it is entirely possible that you completely miss that hit and no compression happens. With release, the longer you leave it, the longer that effect will continue to hold. Often useful with bass guitar, so that you can spot that the bass has played a note and then hold out the compression. So if we just carry on, you see the compressor holds on to what it is doing. So for drums, you want it to let go of the signal as quickly as possible. The other thing to consider is, as I said in the introduction, a compressor has two signals. One is the main signal that is unaffected, the other one goes through the compressor, and the mix is where you would control how much of each you hear. So you can either hear the fully compressed signal over on output, or the uncompressed signal if you put it the other side. And then you get to choose how much of the compressed signal you hear. If the volume is still low, you can change the output gain, but this is probably going to be covered by the makeup that you have chosen to add. So again, let's hear the uncompressed and the compressed. And there we have it. There are obviously other options for you to play around with. So remember the FETs and the VCAs. Depending on your DAW, you will have different options, but in some form they will be available. Have fun and happy compressing your different tracks. Thanks for watching. Did you remember to like and subscribe? That is always appreciated and helps other people find content like this. That's it for another Music Monday. See you next week. Bye for now.